Barrett. Welcome to the 2016 wash-up for the Adelaide Crows. For most of the year, they were one of the leading contenders for the flag. But Matthew Lloyd, except for an easy kill over the Kangaroos in an elimination final, it was a poor last month.
Yeah, Damon, they genuinely looked like a flag contender maybe 6 weeks ago, but that round 23 loss to the West Coast Eagles, they probably got shown up a little bit by the West Coast Eagles there, and then on the weekend they just weren't good enough, unfortunately. But other than that, it was a pretty solid year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that last home and away game loss was game-changing from the big picture perspective, and they never really regained their mojo, did they? They had highlights, and my highlight for the year was just the regular good form throughout the course of the home and away season of the big forwards, the big name forwards. Texan there, and Jenkins had a really good year, disappointing finish, and we'll talk about that in a few moments, but he was good throughout the course of the year. They had Eddie Betts just kicking 75 goals when you throw in the 3 goals he kicked against the Swans in the final, and Lynch was regularly good, again fell away a little bit, but throughout the course of the home and away year, good, and McGovern too. So they had 5 guys kicking 30 plus goals. There's a lot to work with there. Yeah,
there is. They were fantastic, and for me the biggest win was their turning point in the year when I thought they could win a premiership, to go to Perth when the West Coast Eagles rarely get beaten there, and keep them scoreless in the last quarter and kick 6 goals, 5 yourself. I know there'd been a lot of emotion at that ground previous with what went on with the Phil Walsh and Don Pike. I think he announced himself this game, and I generally thought at that point that it flipped their season on their head and they could possibly win a premiership.
All right, we'll stick with the Eagles theme for the low light when it comes to my assessment of the 2016 season. Lordo, this was that round 23 game we've already both touched on, and it just changed where they were headed. I felt they were in the double chance spot for the finals, lost that game to the Eagles, and I don't think they ever recovered from there.
Yeah, they had no Brodie Smith, no Rory Sloane, and they just didn't look. They lacked the midfield depth, which showed up also in the finals over the weekend. But for mine, getting nothing out of Troy Menzel from Carlton, Curtly Hampton. Paul Seedsman, not good enough to get a game. Dean Gore, who was part of the trade for Dangerfield. None of those guys played at all. Seedsman played a handful of games, the other 3 didn't play at all. So that hurt their depth as well throughout the year. All
right, it's time for us to now give them a mark out of 10. And I'll start, Lordo, just given how badly they fell away, I'm only giving them a 6. It could have been as high as an 8 or 9 had they got into a preliminary final. But I just feel with Jenkins falling away and the team collectively falling away, they don't deserve much more than that.
Yeah, I've given them a 6.5. Just because no Dangerfield, a new coach. I think it was a pretty solid year from the Crows.
Fair enough. Christmas bonus time. For that, I am highlighting the form, and I think it was really good form throughout most of the year. This man here, Lordo, Rory Atkins, I like the spark he provided. He's creative. He backs himself for a player young, and clearly he's been given a licence to do that as well. I mean, he's having check side kicks at goal there, and he'll take the opposition on, and it's something they probably need a bit more of.
Yeah, he had a great year, and you're right, they do lack for pace through the midfield with the Crouch brothers and Sloane, so he's really important. For mine, it's Jake Lever, just the courage that Lever plays with. He did his knee in his last year, his under-18 year, so he probably went later in the draft than he probably would have gone otherwise. But just the way he helps Hardigan and also Talia in the air, just his courage. His courage hurt him in the final because back in front of Buddy.
They've got big raps on him, haven't they? And the competition does.
Also as a leader, a future captain possibly of that football club.
Okay, chopping block time now for the 2016 wash-up of the Crows, and you've mentioned him already. Troy Menzel just has not fired a shot. It's not too late, but it's getting very, very close to that point for him. And if he doesn't do something next year, Lordo, he's once lofty expectations on an AFL career are not going to be there.
Yeah, he's got to find a work rate, Troy Menzel, otherwise his career will be gone. For mine, it's just depth players. Andy Otten's been horribly out of luck with his body. Luke Loudon, who they got from Hawthorn, hasn't worked, and Mitch Grigg. So I think they'll just need to turn over their list a little bit at the bottom end.
Okay, we like highlighting a lighter moment throughout the course of each season for these clubs, and on this one, Lordo, we've had a look at Kyle Hardigan's chase here of Cripps in this game against West Coast. He's doing okay, he's holding his ground, but then he's starting to blow up, and he's blaming others for not covering.
It's really funny. We get to see it again, and it's Talia who he's having a crack at there. He had to come, Talia. Poor Hardigan's had that much of a crack. Talia, he's worried about Kennedy, I think, wanting someone else to do it.
All right, they need to improve in so many ways, the Crows, don't they? And I know you've been big on this in recent days, actually, about Sam Jacobs either improving himself or needing some assistance. And Riley O'Brien was a player who got called up late in the season and covered. Is he an answer for that particular part of the equation for the Crows?
I reckon I'd add one more. I look at a club like St Kilda, and they've just got Billy Longer sitting there, and you've got other players like Matt Jack Dawes been sitting around at North Melbourne. They need to try and get a player who's a bit more experienced to help Jacobs out. And for
Where
me,
do you think they can improve?
The midfield. I think I've touched on it just there with your vision of the wingman there. I just think that they need pace, they need class, and they just need to play Malera for 22 games next year, plus another one.
OK, 2017, Crows. You have them going up or down?
I have them going up. I think they can play in a prelim next year with another year under Don Pike. What about you, Dano?
Yeah, I've got them stagnating. I just was worried about what happened late in the year, and I think there's a few question marks now on what they can do when it comes to the absolute crunch in a final series. So, yeah, watch this space, I reckon, on the Crows. Thanks, Slaughter.
Dano.
And thanks for watching the wash-up for the Crows in 2016.